week nine, excuse me, here at the European LCS. And now, before we dive into our next game, I'm joined by Yellow Pete, AD carry for Team EG. And of course, the first question, Pete, what happened there in the game? Very much aggression from your side in the beginning, but then you've kind of lost it.
Well, we had this really nice ward on the red buff, which made us spot them and spot the invade, and we knew they didn't have a jungler, so we just kind of went for it and tried to get the buff and also the kill, and it worked out really well. But then we kind of misjudged the timing on their jungler, and at the same time didn't have smite anymore in Snoopy, so like the blue invade that we followed up with was definitely a mistake, and that brought us a little bit behind, although we even got back from that. So in the end, like, the latest advantage that we had, I think we kind of lost through playing a little bit too passively again. But yeah, overall, it wasn't the worst of games, but still kind of disappointing.
And also the momentum, of course. Just one more question about that game is that you didn't ban out the cannon, and you were directly up against him in lane, so you had to have, you could get rooted by Zyra and get stunned by cannon. Was that something you didn't think of beforehand, or?
No, we definitely knew that Jimbo plays cannon, so we just judged other bans to be more important. And I don't think it was really necessarily that much of a problem in this game. On lane, neither on lane or in team fights. It was other factors that made us lose.
Okay. Bigger than the loss, of course, that you lost the momentum. Yesterday, a great performance against FNatic, and now it's going downhill a little bit again. So what happened between yesterday and today?
Nothing special. I mean, it sounds really weird, like losing or winning against like the first place team and then losing against the last place team. But it's, well, it can always happen. Like, there's a little bit of variance in team's performance, and well, we had a good day yesterday, and today we weren't as lucky.
Okay, but you're still feeling confident, I can see that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the change LCS has brought to your life, because you were one of the teams that traveled the most in Season 2, and now you're coming to this LCS structure. So guide us through how your life has changed.
Well, it's more settled down now, obviously. Like, we used to travel the whole world, basically, and also like a lot of international travel, intercontinental travel, so we'd be tired a lot. We wouldn't have like a lot of time to practice in some months, so that's been changed, and we can actually settle down and kind of schedule everything around the game, which is nice. I kind of miss the aspect of traveling different countries a little bit, but at the same time, it'll still be possible with international events such as World Finals and maybe even China. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Talking about China, as you are the teams that has had the most experience last year playing against, playing in Korea for a while, a lot of American tournaments, in Taiwan even. So how do you judge how the regions will do at the All-Star game?
I think EU has a fair shot at winning it. We have some very talented players, so like it's really interesting because how strong the teams in the region are, it doesn't really matter too much, just as long as you can assemble like a super strong team out of the individual players. So I don't expect it to necessarily be what people expect it to be, like NA going 5th or something. So it's a little bit more complicated than that, and mainly comes down to how well the All-Star teams can adjust to each other in a short period of time that they have to prepare, and basically build up synergy as quickly as possible.
All right. Finally, you are, of course, from Germany, and now you live in Cologne, so how are you enjoying the city?
It's been treating me well. I like it here. No, it's a nice city. We have water, and yeah, I don't know. It's just generally a nice city to live in. Although it doesn't really matter too much for us. Like, most of our daily schedule is for practice and all that stuff. So we can't really go around and enjoy everything all the time. But it's still nice to live here, yeah, for sure.
Eyes on the prize, a lot of practice. Thank you very much, Yellow Pete.
You're welcome.
Now it's time for the second match of today. So let's throw it over to our casters again, Joe and Quickshot.
Thanks a lot, Shox. It's time to get our second match of the day underway. It's FNatic against the Dragonborns. Coming into this week, Dragonborns were 4 for 16, but after their 2 games yesterday and that win against the Giants, they're now 5 for 17. FNatic, on the other hand, are still flying high, despite that loss yesterday, at 17 for 5. We'll see if their confidence has been shaken, though, with that loss, that heavy loss, I think we can safely say, against Evil Geniuses yesterday. The last time these two teams met ended in a win for FNatic. FNatic, as did the first time that they went head-to-head. Dragonborns need to turn that around here and pull off an upset for the sake of their LCS careers, to be honest.
Yeah, especially because Giants just picked up a victory now as well. So the Dragonborns, they're a team that sort of revel in chaos and playing super aggressive. Their champions always fit that sort of play style. And thinking back to the FNatic games, I still remember when Hosan was playing Needly. Hosan was battling against Expect his Needly in the middle. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. So we'll see if they've figured out how to convert that chaos into objective and map control. Against FNatic, they're really going to need to find a way to deal with the map-aware Soaz and Expeke and try to exploit some weaknesses. Yesterday, the Dragonborns did demonstrate a noticeable improvement in their coordination and their control because they were playing a great team effort against both Gambit and then, of course, the win against the Giants.
So let's have a look at the lineups for both of these teams then, starting out with FNatic, and of course, starting in their top lane with Soaz, Cyanide in the jungle, Peke in the mid lane, and the AD carrying support, Yellow Star and N-Rated.
And of course, for the Dragonborns, Yamato Cannon, Maluno, Shushe, Hosan, and Muvat.
Let's talk about the games featured in this the matchup. You know, the mini games, if we can really call them that, and the head-to-head. This time around, we've highlighted the support players, and first up, the support of FNatic, of course, N-Rated.
So, of course, N-Rated, first and foremost, he is the caller and the team leader for FNatic in-game. His current stats, 21 kills, 57 deaths, 121 assists overall. He's currently got the first gold per minute of all support players. He's 1 ahead of Edward and 20 ahead of the person in third place. So significantly further ahead as far as gold is concerned. He's actually a player that has been drawing bans throughout the season. Thresh and Leona in particular have been banned out a number of times, and it allows the rest of his team to actually play those preferred picks, which is why they've got so many wins under their belt. Yesterday, he played an last week, absolutely sublime Leona play when comboed with Soaz's Rumble. And yesterday, his Nunu against EG, it didn't really have much of an impact.
So let's have a look at his opposite number in this one for the Dragonborns and their support player, Mover. Now, it's a bit of a different story for Mover, we have to say. He's currently bottom place support player in the statistics, ranking even behind the already replaced Corralius for this point. Mover, you know, as a player, he's not stood out statistically, but we have seen some good plays from him. We have to say that. He's definitely going to have to step things up. But, as I said, with the support play, if you're playing something like Sona or Thresh even that we've seen from him, one play can change the way that your team goes around. But he's going to have to constantly make these big plays if Dragonborns are going to have a chance to close that gap on the rest of the bottom teams. And yesterday, we can't forget how aggressive he played along with Hosan in that bottom lane over Giants. They really did actually dominate that bottom lane and stop Giants having really any chance to get that AD carrying support farmed up.
So this is something that we've seen out of Hosan and Mover a couple of times in the past. When they were playing against SK, they also dominated that lane. When they played yesterday against Giants, they dominated that lane. It's a situation where the support players can affect an individual player like Hosan, who's arguably one of the superstars on the team, as well as supporting the entire team. When you compare him to players like Dude, N-Rated, and Edward, they've got a very big effect on the entire team game, setting up matches, setting up team fight victories and wins. And this is definitely something that Movert's going to need to do more of because his AD carry Hosan is so incredibly good. So it's one of these situations where you almost feel if Hosan was paired with somebody like Edward, for example, what would those lane situations turn out to be like?
Well, Mover, we know he's got to step things up, but yesterday was definitely a start to getting things going and getting things rolling in the very much later stage of the season that we're in right now. Of course, FNatic going to be showing clear focus and determination, not wanting to have another upset loss against a team that had been on a losing streak up until yesterday. Do the Dragonborns have what it takes to pull out a surprise today, though? Let's see what the players have to think.
Dragonborn, they had a lot of troubles by swapping players around.
So they just need to stick with one lineup and focus and try to improve together as a team, not change a player that fails.
FNatic is a really experienced team. I don't think they will underestimate us.
We don't go overconfident like we did in the past with Copenhagen Wolves. Now we take every game serious, we focus and we try to win it.
If we just stop making our own mistakes, I think we can pull it through.
And there's a very valid point at the end from Mover that if you concentrate on your own game first and get that going well, chances are you're going to be doing well in the league itself. So that's something that Dragonborns obviously focus on. Their 2 games yesterday. The first up was against Gambit. It was a loss at the end. It extended their losing streak to 0 for 14. However, they look really, really good, and they brought that through for their games against Giants. And today, if everything's gone to plan in their whole comeback in these final 2 weeks of the season, then you never know. We could be seeing another upset today from Dragonborns. It
was a hard-fought loss. It's exactly like we said. They've been working on their own game lately, and yesterday was actually arguably the first time we've ever seen the team working really as a 5-man unit. They were coordinated, they were controlled, they were moving around the map as a unit, and they were making plays as a unit, which is something we've genuinely not seen for 8 weeks here in the LCS. So it's great to see that coming out, and we'll see how they're going to handle FNatic, who arguably are the best map-playing team in the LCS right now.
So here we go then with the bans and the picks, and no real surprises from FNatic. Looks taken out there. We saw Shushe's impact play with it earlier on in the season. Those oh my lord moments he certainly produced. Draven for Hosan. Hosan, as we said, is definitely up there with the best AD carries in terms of his skill. It's not quite translated into, victories for Dragonborns, but Draven is one thing to take away. Thresh also, yes, that's something that N-Rated might want to play, but also a safe ban, in my opinion, to get out. Leona and Elise then aimed at FNatic from Dragonborns.
Yeah, so taking those out of play, they still have one ban left. Zed, Twisted Fate, Shen, Varus are all still available for selection. So these are very high priority picks that pretty much lets FNatic decide how and where they want to go. Removing that Twisted Fate immediately takes that map presence away. We've seen yesterday, Xpeke was running Katarina with Flash and Ignite. I believe it's the first time he's ran Ignite with her. He does tend to go for that teleport flash. And like we're talking about, those comfort picks, those preferred champion selections of Zed has been locked in. Another key thing to note out is both Nasus and Volibear were available. So we'll see what they want to run. Maluna's actually been running Jungle Udyr as well. So that's another possibility if they want to go that route.
Well, right now they are hovering over Jarvan, which wouldn't surprise me. Maluno is a strong Jarvan player, has made an impact with him before, up until now in the season as well. What will they go for now? Because Zed has been a favourite for Yamato Cannon in the last games that we've seen him. Obviously, his first games, really, technically. He's been heavily playing Zed. But that's taken away this time here. So interested to see whether they'll just, go straight in and think Shen, maybe, for this one.
The difficulty therefore as well, they don't know who's going to be playing Zed. It could go to Soaz, it could go to Xpeke. So the Dragonborns are going to need to play a little bit of guesswork here as to who's going to pick up that particular champion. If they do decide to go for that Kha'Zix, we might see that being played by Shushe. He's used it a couple of times in that mid lane. It's also a champion that's, bounced back and forth. Interestingly for Maluno, this is only going to be the 3rd time that he's played Jarvan. It's one of the picks that he does try to get his hands on a lot, but he's only played it twice previously. He has a KDA of 22 on that champion.
100% win ratio with him as well. So
2 out of 2.
That's, I suppose, statistically, and me being the stat man, I should know this. A good pick for him. 2 out of 2, 100%. Let's see if we can carry that on here today. What a FNatic gonna go with here? Switching between Volibear, between Nocturne there as well. So Nocturne or Volibear, we'll see which one goes in. I'd say that Volibear is the more realistic of the 2 choices. Of course, a champion that has been playing a hell of a lot right now. I'd say probably has about 100% pick ratio in the last games that we've been seeing him all over the place.
So Cyanide has run Nocturne once before, if memory serves correctly, and I believe he actually built the Frozen Mallet on him. Went very, very aggressive, played a very much paranoia equals kill game. Every time that ultimate was up, he would dive in and chase. When you consider the combo of having a Nocturne and a Zed diving onto anybody, it's a very scary combination. And FNatic have still not revealed who the solo laners are. Picking Zyra, we've seen Xpeke actually play AP Zyra in the past before. He's currently sitting on Ghost and Flash for summoner spells. So it's a different set of summoner spells than we're used to using, which implies to me we may see a different champion out of him in this particular matchup, which means he could be going for Zyra. What it does mean for Dragonborns, they're playing complete guesswork here. They have no idea who their solo laners are going to be. They don't know who they're going to be matching up against, because Zyra could be support, could be mid. Zed could be mid, could be top, could even be, well, it's not going to be jungle, but could be. And a lot of different options here for the Dragonborns to deal with and try to predict.
So they've got that Kha'Zix in there, which, as I said, top, middle lane. Jarvan, we're gonna go out. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it'll probably be in the jungle there with Maluno. Misfortune, another strong carry here.
Kale's available. Now,
that is true.
In terms of the supports, we've also got Lulu, and with Kale, I was just looking at the combo there of the Zed and the Nocturne, and the idea of somebody tunneling in, diving onto with Deathmark, with Paranoia, to immediately just go, look, I'm going to intervention this and peace, I'm out. It's a very, very powerful combination, and it's something that we've seen Shushe play time and time again. So Shushe probably going to be Kayle in the mid. Yamato's probably going to be Kha'Zix in the top lane, and then obviously Maluno on that Jarvan. And again, we're seeing the Dragonborns actually leaving a support pick to last. I think they did that against Giants yesterday as well, if my memory serves me.
Yeah, which is at that point when I said maybe we'll see something funky coming out.
Yep.
And that wasn't to be,
not to be.
But maybe today. I am very optimistic about something like that. FNatic right now hovering over Caitlyn here for their AD carry role. And will it be that Zyra in the support, or will they go for something else in the mid lane? No, just reactionary there after that Kayle pickup.
So there's a lot of damage threats here from FNatic already, and depending on now that Jace has been locked in, we can pretty much guarantee who's going where. That's going to be Zed in the mid lane. Soaz is going to be playing Jace. They could actually swap that around and go for 2v1s, 1v2s, that sort of thing. But having a Twitch-Zyra combination, every single member of FNatic is a damage threat. It takes Zyra a little bit longer to get into that position, but you'll see the likes of a KG's Lucky Pick, maybe going to Morella Nomicon, which is the standard now, maybe even getting a Zhonya's Hourglass, depending on how well the lane goes. So they've got so many damage threats. What it also means for Dragonborns, that single target Kayle intervention is not going to be enough to save the entire team. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the likes of a Lulu in this particular matchup have that additional shield and life-saving ability. If not Lulu, probably Sona, I think, for some team CC and things like that. Or they're going to throw it right out and cover a Malphite. I'm not believing that yet.
No, I'm not either. But Mover looks pretty serious there. We've got the player cam on him right now, and doesn't seem to be that much of a troll from my view.
So, okay, Malphite being locked in, that's going to be support Kayle then, is my guess. Kayle, Misfortune bottom lane. Probably Maluno in the jungle. You can see Flash teleport with Yamato Cannon, so I think he's going to be taking Malphite in this particular situation. We'll see how they all swap around, but I have no idea. I'm just trying to make sense of this composition. Again, you've got a number of damage threats. You've got a scary amount of initiation. Jarvan as well as Malphite diving into your team. You're going to have Shushe going, I got to reset. And depending on whoever's got the most HP will then be the target of the intervention. So I think Dragonborns are saying, look, Hosan, we're sorry, bro. You're going to get dived and die, but we're going to let Jarvan, Malphite, and Kha'Zix clean house, I think. But I got no idea how this is going to play out.
Yeah, and Kayle, you know, we talked about the intervention now that might not have the biggest of roles when you've got such damage across the board. And then to put it into the support role may be a good reaction to that entire setup for you. So something a little bit different here coming out for Dragonborns. And honestly, I think you've got to take risks at this stage. Dragonborns, honestly, have got nothing to lose at this point. Yes, they got rid of that losing streak. But I talked about this whilst we were doing rehearsals today. That was just one small piece of a very large jigsaw that they have to get together if they're going to survive here and be in the LCS for next season. So risks, in my opinion, are good right now from Dragonborn's side. Really interested to see, though, how this one all works out for them. FNatic, on the other hand, you know, they're in a position themselves where they want to reclaim that first spot. They don't want to let Gambit start running away with things as we head into Super Week 10.
No, they definitely want to try, you know, get some of that momentum back with such a heavy-handed loss yesterday. They're looking to pick up a victory here and gain some more confidence in their matchup. There is one thing I do want to point out about the FNatic roster right now. There's no traditional tank in that lineup. So if they fall behind, if they are unable to win team fights and get kills, they're going to be very squishy and very easy targets for that Malphite and Jarvan and Kha'Zix. So it's a fairly risky composition, actually, out of both teams, to be very frank and to be very fair. But it's like you said, with you're back against the wall with almost nothing to lose, why not pull something out unexpected? Because against a team that's used to being in control and knowing, hey, I know how this team plays, I know how they move. Hell, who knows how top lane Malphite and support Kayle is going to work, because you don't see this in professional play all that often.
So here we go then, FNatic versus Dragonborns. FNatic on the blue side. Things didn't go too well for them yesterday against EG at level 1. They face-checked straight into a bush and ended up with Soaz going down for the first blood in that one. Something tells me that they won't do the same today.
No, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. Well, here you go. This time they're playing defensive. We do see the Jarvan flag toss coming out, revealing Peke, and he's pretty much just going to dance there and say, yeah, I know you're there, you know I'm here. What you're going to do about it. What we do see, though, is that the Dragonborns have already indicated they want to do the lane swap. They're going to try and put their Kale and Misfortune combo up in the top lane to deal with Soaz's Jace. He's going to have a little bit of an easier time CSing, both under the tower and from range, because he has range, whereas Yamato Cannon is going to be trying to do the best that he can to survive. And it does look like a recall's coming in very soon.
Yeah, I think FNatic actually in the end have decided, you know what, we don't want that to happen. We're going to send Jace towards that bottom lane here as they all start to go up the middle. Zyra is on the top side of the jungle as well. So both AD carries and supports going to be in the top lane by the looks of things, with Dragonborns having the start here on the big goblins.
So we do see Xpeke helping out as well on those raid camp. It looks like he's moving out of experience range, so it doesn't even look like he's going to steal some of that. Jace is going to be helping out on this red buff, and you can see that both Enrated and Yellowstar getting the wolf camp just to help even out that difference of the double golems that Hosan and Nuva have been able to pick up. So, interesting decision here from FNatic. There were some very, very strong words from Soaz on his Facebook page yesterday saying, I don't know why we did that 1v2. A couple of expletives in there and saying he doesn't like it, and you know, being very strongly worded, let's put it that way. So I think this is definitely him going, I don't want a 1v2, I want a duel, I want to go 1v1, and we'll see how it plays out.
Oh, we will see how it plays out, and that's exactly the wish that he's going to get from this one. Going head-to-head against Malphite, and there we see Hosan's early aggression coming out. Yellowstar taking a lot of damage. Actually, the Grasping Root did land onto Move-It there, but he will walk away. Lots of damage early in that top lane.
Yeah, these teams are riding a knife edge, but there's one thing we have to point out. Both Yellowstar as well as two other members of FNatic have that red pot. Elixir of Fortitudes are there, so they're going to have that plus 15 AD and give or take 130 to 150 HP at this low level if they go aggressive. We do see Maluno sniffing around the bottom lane. Soaz is going to get caught.
Yeah, they want to go in, don't quite get the knock-up, but there's a lot of damage coming in. Soaz, though, will pop that Elixir there. We saw his health just getting that boost there, and that's exactly why it is so useful, not just because of the extra stats that you get from it, but that little boost of safety in your HP.
And he saved his summoner spell as well, so he still has flash available. Grasping Roots go out by Enrated, doesn't catch anybody, which means Cyanide cannot come in for the gank, and you can actually see a red ping there on Cyanide's position. There's no vision from Dragonborns, but knowing how this works, they knew he's there. Peck has been jumped on.
Yeah, Shushe going in for this one, but it looks like Peck might have the better of him here. The Void Spikes come out there. The flashback is very close, but Shushe gets the first blood. What a turn of events there in the middle. All the summoners were used. Great first blood.
Peck no energy. He couldn't use his abilities, so he couldn't get first blood. They traded flashes back and forth. There was a glimmer of light, and the insect stood on the ninja and picked up that first blood kill. So well played by Shushe. He's going to go back, pick up some item advantage, and not only did he get that, you know, very early strong performance, that was on top of the Elixir of Fortitude. So he bursted through that additional HP that Peke had. Well played, Shushe, and we'll see if he can take control of this lane with an additional longsword.
One thing, of course, that we don't talk about too much anymore is the fact that Shushe won Season 1 with FNatic, so he got a bit of a grudge to settle in this one as well, as we are seeing Hosan going aggressive again onto Yellowstar. Got to be careful against this setup, though, especially until Kale hits that level 6, because the Grasping Roots can mean the end very quickly.
Yeah, as soon as you get caught out, Twitch is a deceptive amount of damage at early levels with that expunge. If you can get a couple of stacks up, it hits really, really hard. I do see that in terms of that Divine Blessing, it hasn't been leveled up. I want to see what Move-It is leveling up, and he's got 1 point into each of his abilities. I want to see what the focus is. But before we get to that, Cyanide is sniffing around this top lane. If a Grasping Roots doesn't land, I don't expect him to go in, but he is actually going in now.
Yeah, Hosan actually comes around. There's a flash away. Exhaust comes down onto Cyanide. Fear Tether not quite going the way they wanted. His Yellowstar is actually really low in there. Hosan not got any mana left whatsoever right now, as Xpeke was in trouble again in that middle lane. They forced him out of lane once again, and he is now burning through pots just to try and stay there and get some farm.
So a good actual gank there from Cyanide in the top lane. He manages to get the flash and the exhaust out of his opponent. So Hosan is left with only barrier as far as that summoner spell is concerned. And like we said, get caught by a root, and that's it. You're going to get plucked like a weed. But we do see Yellowstar taking a lot of damage there and forced a little bit backwards out of that lane. Rosman's gotten again. That was just tentative. And Move-It, he wants blood here.
Yeah, going straight in there south towards Yellowstar, and just his presence really forcing that FNatic dual lane to back away from things. Yellowstar was quite low, as we've seen Soaz here going in towards Yamato Cannon, and Shard just slowing him right down. But I see maybe a sign of things to come in that bottom lane. Soaz right now does have a healthy CS lead on him. Malphite forced to go in for that Doran shield at the start to give him that extra protection. Tia picked up early for Soaz though.
That synergizes really well with Malphite's kit. The armor, the health, the HP regen, it literally stacks with everything. Soaz has gone quite aggressive onto Yamato, simply sidesteps the knock-up and says, no, not today, bro. And is not afraid of this fight at all. He might win this.
Yeah, goes through the acceleration gate. I said the shock blast as well. And Maluno's like, cheers, Yamato. Came down to help. Now I've got half HP and I might have to go back. There's Shushe jumping onto Peke. Peke going for the same here. And we are going to see a lot of damage coming down onto Shushe, but not enough to finish him.
So a little bit of a mistake there from Shushe. He could have optimized his survival there by waiting on his ultimate, going invisible, getting the damage reduction as the mark was about to pop. But he actually did it before. So the effect wore off and he took the full damage from the death mark. But nevertheless, it secured what Peke wanted it to do. It forced him out of the lane. It pushed him back and it allows Peke to just take a couple extra CS and try to get a little bit of a gold lead. What we did see a moment or two earlier was that Yellowstar and Rated backed in that top lane to be the first buy. And because we see that Yellowstar's a little bit behind in CS, he doesn't have that additional Vamp Scepter that Misfortune has. And that's a big, big, big difference in attack damage right now.
There's movement coming up. They know that Cyanide, actually that was a blue ping on Cyanide's position. Actually put the pink ward down and cleared out, so they definitely do know that he was there. So we'll see, most likely they're not going too aggressive for now. Ward will spot him backing away towards that middle lane. So let's take a look after 7 minutes 40 seconds here. There's a 400 gold lead coming out of Dragonborns. Obviously that first blood in for Shushe, really helping out things here as well. Not quite the bad start that FNatic had yesterday against Evil Geniuses though.
No, not quite, but they did give up first blood and then went on to lose. So maybe it's a bit too early to be saying that right now, but we'll see how it plays out. What I do like now, Yellowstar, realizing he's a little bit under pressure, is now coming to the mid lane. There's no death mark available, but they're picking this fight with Shushe.
Let's see if they can get in there. He is going to be invisible as he pops up. There is the flash coming down. Can he get the finisher? Yes, he can. Spraying and praying, and it gets them the kill, and that's the danger of the Twitch. I mean, they'd obviously not called that he was gone, or they thought he'd gone out of lane in terms of a recall back to base. Great play out of Yellowstar. Yeah,
great coordination. They got all the damage down. Picker's in a little bit of trouble, but he's just going to use that clone to hop, skip, and jump to safety. And then we see Yellowstar returning to lane. Because he started with that red pot, he invested money into those potions and that, temporary buff. He's actually behind a full Vamp Scepter as far as damage is concerned. But with the kill that he's picked up, he's decided to prioritize those Berserker's Greaves instead of evening out on damage. What it immediately tells you is Yellowstar's not looking to out-trade and battle with Hosan. He wants to be mobile, he wants to gank, and he wants to kite. And that's what he's going to be playing with the sneaky invisible rat.
Yeah, and already that working out nicely as he visits that middle lane. Now we see Shushe going to be taking the blue buff here. As he goes back in up against Peke. We'll see if Cyanide is going to be so kind. Doesn't look like it though. Cyanide going to have that for himself.
So he's got that blue buff. It's just going to let him, really spam his abilities. And the fact that he's level 6 as well means that his paranoia cooldown is going to be significantly less. At rank 1, it's 144 seconds. So with, some cooldown reduction in there on that blue buff, it's obviously going to help him out just a little bit. There's some pressure up in the top lane, but you could actually see in the mini-map, Maluno was showing his face there to expect his Z. So a good start by Dragonborns overall, getting that first blood and CSing relatively well. But thanks to that range that Soaz's Jace has in the bottom lane or the solo lane, he's pulling further ahead of Yamato Cannon.
Well, we can see that Malphite already starting to be very, very tanky here with Yamato Cannon. And got that giant spell in along with that Doran shield from earlier. Hosan and Move It just going to back away and take themselves the golems. Want every little last advantage that they can get from this one. And to be honest, Hosan does have that lead in CS over Yellowstar. He's just pushed that wave out, and he, with that, is 14 CS behind. Should be able to go back home here in a second and buy up once again, though.
Yeah, so he's going to spend a little bit more money. We haven't seen too much back and forth between those in the last minute or so, but in the early game exchanges, it was extremely aggressive, and both teams just prioritizing the poke and the focus over last hitting and CSing. Taking a look at Movert's Kale, he's definitely maxing out that heal, the Divine Blessing, over his other abilities, which is to be expected. And with that intervention is available, if anybody does get in trouble, he's just going to buy them those couple extra seconds of life.
Yeah, and so as he's a mean force with Jace. He was really the first one that brought that Jace out against Curse at Gamescom last year during the Season 2 European Championship. So, you know, his history goes right back to pretty much day one of Jace competitively. Certainly a champion which we've not seen him pull out all that much in the LCS so far as he goes in there onto Yamato Cannon. But there is Maluno coming in from the backside. Has he gone too far in this one? The acceleration gate is down, but there is Cataclysm. The flash going to be used, but Yamato Cannon flashes in there as well. Maluno hammers down for the kill.
Such great coordination from Maluno and from Yamato Cannon. Good patience from Soaz, not burning his flash early. Xpeke gets dived on by Shushe, but uses that shadow of his to dive to safety. And another kill for Dragonborns. So this is what we've seen out of them yesterday. When they did make the plays, when they did make aggressive movements on the map, it was coordinated, it was well-timed, and it worked. So advantage Dragonborns right now with that gold lead and kill lead.
And I have to apologize to Soaz there, giving him that good old commentator's curse as I talk about him.
Scumbag stat man.
Ends up dying in the lane. So sorry for that one, Soaz. But Dragonborns leading here, healthy 400 gold plus that extra kill coming in onto the jungle. That's going to help them overall. There's a giant spell. Obviously is there for Malphite, but the chain vest coming in as well. He's going to be headed up towards that Sunfire Cape, which today I remembered its name.
Well done, well done. You know, what I want to see from Yamato Cannon is how he plays the split push, because yesterday he wasn't around against Gambit when he needed to be. He was trying to split push with Zed, he was trying to farm and play the map, but his presence and his damage was really, really needed in that matchup. So I'm hoping they've learned from some of the mistakes yesterday, and Yamato's going to be more of a presence on the map, especially with that heavy engaged team that they have right now. Maluno is sniffing around in this top lane, and Yellow Star and Rated, they're kind of signaling they want to pick a fight, but Maluno's right here.
Yeah, they're going to try and get in, and Rated will flash away. Actually, will manage to land the Stranglehold Thorns there, which knock Maluno up into the air. Yellow Star put the damage down. That'll be enough to force Maluno away, but Zyra without that flash in there, got no boots either, so that's going to be a prime target for Dragonborns.
Yeah, definitely. Cataclysm's going to come up soon as well. Pekka's gone into Shushe.
Wow, he's gone straight in there on that one. Shushe actually picked that fight. Oh, look at the damage coming in. Ignite is ticking away as well. One more, no, he just about gets away until Cyanide pops a paranoia and they get the kill.
Up in the top lane, the fight's not over.
Oh, there is, wow, a last second ultimate coming out of Mover. That's going to save Hosan for now. The poison not ticking away to be able to get the kill. And again, clutch play coming out right at the very last second from Mover.
And that is exactly what we were talking about, the power of that intervention, using the ultimate just to save the life of Hosan, but he did save it, and that is what matters. Hosan maintains that 20 CS advantage in the top lane, uses bullet time just to back away safely and lose less by obviously shoving that wave out and remaining even. In the mid lane, it was a very good trade for Xpeke. With the damage items that he had, he actually popped Shushe in that 1v1 pretty much completely, and it was just that last tick of damage that Cyanide landed to actually pick up the killing blow.
Yeah, nicely done. Dragonborns here going to look to force Yellow Star and Rated away. And that Vamp Scepter is really going to help out Hosan, not to mention the heal coming out of Kale as well. We've not really touched on that one, but obviously that gives Hosan and Mover a lot more sustain in that lane.
So it's a fairly healthy heal. It's at rank 4 right now for Kale, 195 hit points on about a 15-second cooldown. So it's helpful, but it's very similar to Taric in many ways. He has some sustain, but he's not known as a sustained support, so to speak. So he's there for primarily a lot of the additional things he offers. The attack damage, the ranged poke, the intervention, and obviously helping Hosan out just to get a good channel on those bullet times when the team fights occur. For the time being, the first tower goes down. It's FNatic securing it in that top lane. They've been a little bit more aggressive against the counterparts when they have been in lane, because Enrated's trying to land those roots and actually pick up some kills.
Oh, Hosan going in on towards Enrated with this one. Enrated actually got no mana here, and Hosan chunking him down. The double up not going to be enough to finish off the kill. And he doesn't want to go completely aggressive on that one as Cyanide headed to bottom.
He is sitting there right now. Yamato gets knocked back, and here's the fight.
This could be bad news for Dragonborns, but Maluno comes in from the side. Can they lock down Cyanide? Yes, they can. The Unstoppable Force was in there as well. They managed to get both of them with that. Unfortunately, not locking up that second kill, but here is Hosan and Yellow Star going head-to-head in the top lane. Yellow Star wins that one pretty convincingly.
Enrated played a very good bait in that top lane. He was waiting for Hosan to go aggressive, knowing that he would. And after Hosan jumps in there, they trade 1-for-1 in terms of kills. But Dragonborns, because of the kill in the bottom lane and the superior positioning, they're going to pick themselves up a dragon, and that's a good play. you trade even on kills, but get team gold at 975. Obviously, the advantage is for you.
Except they lost the middle tower as well there, with XPK
spotted.
pulling that one off. He even managed to zip over onto the Wraiths to steal away that little bit extra.
Nick the Wraith cap.
And that leaves us at 2-for-0 in turrets for FNatic. Obviously, the outer turrets in the top and the middle lane. And that translates at this point to a around about 1,500 gold lead for FNatic. If you look down there individually, XPK, despite a lot of early pressure that he faced out of Xuxe and Maluno, is ahead right now by a good 800 gold. And talking about that pressure, you know, he's still done a very good job in terms of CSing.
So Xuxe, after getting first blood, wasn't able to stamp an authority on the lane. He picked up that advantage, but he didn't continually convert it or you know, keep XPK on the back foot. And Peke, as you've seen in those last trades, is actually one out. Enrated right now has got a pink ward in this bush, so he knows that there's no vision from Dragonborns. And Mover can already sniff it. Very, very cheeky ward. Just lands on Enrated's head, and he's just going to stand there saying, yeah, I'm aware of this.
Just having a dance.
I know that's there. But obviously he's got the pink, and he's just going to clear it out instantly. And it's heartbreaking when you lose a ward that way.
There's Yellow Star as well. Mover is coming in on top of him. The ward put down as well, so that's two wards that I'm not sure they're going to clear that second one out. But FNatic here looking like they may want to get this turret away.
Now looking like they want to push it, but Xuxe, after he almost gets hit by that shockwave, decides to just go aggressive, clear the wave out as quickly as possible. Cyanide is up in the top lane. He's going to go toe-to-toe with Yumarican. There's a 2-level difference. He spell shields the slow though.
Yeah, spell shields that slow, and he's just going to be walking away from that one. Nice reactions from Cyanide. But Yamato Cannon just trying to stamp his authority on Silent, say, I've got that Sunfire cape in there, got a little bit of armor as well, extra from that cloth armor, and I got my boots in case I need to run away or chase you. However, he doesn't want to overstay his welcome here, because we are going to see Jace coming in, but you can see the damage already that he's able to put onto someone like Cyanide.
Cyanide's hanging around. He was trying to actually bait out and engage there just a little bit. He was hoping for the unstoppable force, and then was thinking, I can just run to safety and let Soaz clean up. But that's a very, very beefy Yamato Cannon. Roughly 2,400 hit points with that Granite Shield active. In comparison to about the 1,900 or so hit points of Soaz, it's going to take a while for Soaz to chunk it down. And he's decided to go for that Black Cleaver as his first item. Going to go for that Armor Shred. It's a slightly interesting pickup because with... Oh, they've got on Xuxe.
Yeah, Xuxe here going to be in a little bit of trouble. Let's see if he can get finished off there. Not quite, as Maluno is going to lock down XPK, but for how long? XPK actually standing and trading with him a little bit there. Xuxe did come to back up, but of course didn't want to get too involved. Of course, Peke, with the right cooldowns, and if he'd had that energy back, could have probably got in again on him.
Yeah, Peke, he didn't have the energy, and that was the only reason he couldn't pick up that kill onto Xuxe. But well played by Maluno. What ends up happening as well is that Cataclysm is now down for effectively nothing, and it just means Maluno's ganking power is a little bit weaker. Yellow Star slowed Hosan, but the rusking miss moose. Bleh.
Hosan going to get ulted onto here as the ultimate comes out from Nocturne as well. This could be 2 kills right here for FNatic, and it will be. Teleport coming down though. It's a double kill for the Rat. Yamato Cannon gets rooted up on his impact there into the lane, and now they're going to try and turn it around. There is the unstoppable force used on towards XPK. Are they going to go in fully for this one? This is dangerous as Xuxe comes around. The barrier used out. Xuxe going very low. Maluno coming in. Flashes used by both Enrated and Yellow Star to get away. In the end, it's a 2-for-0 in favor of FNatic.
Crazy, crazy fight, and Enrated landing the Blah roots at the end of the fight, and that's really what mattered. Maluno and Xuxe both burning their flashes to effectively do nothing. He's still hanging around on the side, and Xuxe's going to be careful. He's jumped back in.
Yeah, but he's missed actually on towards XPK there. The Ignite went down. Now they turn in on towards Maluno. The ulti's going to pop in a second here. Is it going to be enough to get the finishing kill for them? Cyanide still chasing down, but here comes Hosan. It's the never-ending story here in the bottom lane as Misfortune struts away into range. Is he going to get the kill? Yes, he will. Cyanide goes down.
Cyanide taking one for the team, deciding to pull Hosan away to the side. I wonder if he could have actually managed to get away if he carried on running. But nevertheless, they got the top inner turret as well as the bottom turret in exchange for that 2-for-1 at the end of the day. They lost 1, picked up 2 themselves. FNatic will be happy with the trade. They've extended that gold lead a good amount thanks to the craziness that ensued. And it was very, very well played overall. Have to mention Enrated's roots. He landed so many moments that literally locked down Dragonborns and prevented them from dealing the amount of damage they really wanted to.
Yeah, I expected straight after that teleport that the unstoppable force would come down, and that could have got very bad for FNatic, but no, he's just held in place as soon as he lands into the lane. So, Shusha here going to be going about picking up that blue buff. If you look at the CS now, he's starting to really get out of hand between him and Xpeke. 165 to 230 right now.
It's something that Peke does very well with Zed is farming those Wraith camps, both of his opponents and his own. If you watch any of his streams or any of his Zed matches, he does it all the time. As soon as that tower is being pushed, he'll steal away his enemy Wraiths, or if his tower is, you know, not at any danger of being taken down, he'll finish up his Wraith camp as well. So it's a little deceptive in saying that the gold count is completely even, but nevertheless he's got a good advantage. Bloodthirster completed, as well as that Brutalizer and the makings of a Last Whisper. The story right now for FNatic is Twitch. 4-0, he's 15 CS behind, but that is a very, very powerful rat. And he's solo pushing this bottom lane because Dragonborns, they know where the enemy are. They know they were stacked in the middle, and Yellowstar's just got free farm and free pressure.
Yep, he is going to keep pushing this one down. Hosan is going to come across here to cover up and soak up that CS. Doesn't want to be losing that at this stage of things, and losing the advantage that he's nicely built up in terms of that CS, especially when you factor in the fact that he's 4-0 behind. Has to do that as FNatic start Baron.
Soaz is going to play a little bit of interference here. He ran into the jungle as soon as Dragon got started, so he knew where the members of Dragonborns were, and he literally just said, hey, look at me, I'm sort of on your side of the territory. Makes him think Yellowstar's going in for this. He wants it.
He's going to go straight in on top of Hosan. Who's going to win this one? Spray and Pray comes in. Cyanide joins the fight as Yellowstar already locks up that kill. Yellowstar now unstoppable at 5-0-0. This turret is not going to last long with that amount of FNatic players hammering away on it. Yamato Cannon did come in from the side, but he was pretty much alone there with just Kale for backup. They decide to leave it, and that's a second inner turret gone for Dragonborns.
5 towers to 0 right now. FNatic are, as we said at the beginning of the game, are in map control, and this is what Dragonborns need to figure out how to counter. They need to either group up as 5 and force towers, or force the fights, because what happened there is they tried to go for mid lane and sort of went, well, we don't really know, do we want to go, do we not want to go? And FNatic said, just push bottom, just go for it, and they managed to make it work. So Dragonborns, if you're stacked up and you can push 1 or 2 towers down, do it. You may lose an inner, but you'll get that map presence back of your opponent's side of the jungle.
So right now, things are going to slow down as FNatic went back to buy up a little bit. We see Twitch, Bloodthirster, Zeal, Last Whisper. Pretty similar to what we've got with Zed right now, actually. Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, got a Brutalizer in there as well. There's a Black Cleaver with Jace. So, you know, we talked before we started about this one, there's no real big tank in there for FNatic, but there is a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's the thing. It comes down to who gets that first pick. If either team gets an early kill, that team's going to win the team fight because they've got so many damage threats and so many damage sources. FNatic are stacked up here as 4, but you've got Yamato Cannon sniffing around from the side. He wants to jump in, but he's been completely zoned out by Enrated. Enrated's used his ultimate for that.
They're going to get knocked up there on by Enrated. He's down to half HP just from that little bit of action there. So not sure that FNatic will be too upset with that one as the acceleration gate goes down. There's a shot blast coming through. Didn't quite have the range to connect on Chushe, but FNatic are pushing up this middle lane.
So with the usage of that ultimate from Enrated Zyra, that's their clear line of initiation. You can have Nocturne and Zed diving in there, but that's a very risky play because if they don't get the kill thanks to intervention, cheeky smite there, if they don't get the kill thanks to intervention, then they're going to be in and amongst 5 members of Dragonborns. They don't have that clear tank initiator like Malphite or Jarvan on their side. And it just means FNatic really needs to pick their battles wisely, because if they don't, they could lose it quite cleally.
Right now, they're doing a good job of farming their way through. 212 to 188 is the difference between Jace and Malphite at this stage. Yellowstar, of course, we don't really need to touch on his CS. It's the kills that are making the difference there at 5-0-0 compared to a 1-3-0 Misfortune. We've seen that that battle is very much one-sided when they go head-to-head.
And if he does go down, that's going to be a very big bounty gold going over to his opponents, which Dragonborns are definitely looking forward to actually picking up. Something I was touching on with Jace's Black Cleaver, it's not a traditional pickup because he can't quickly stack a lot of those Black Cleaver armor shreds. He does have AoE damage, which will shred from multiple targets at least once, but you know, you tend to have fast auto attackers, a lot of AoE, you know, a lot of spells that can do it. Okay, He wants to maybe pick a fight with Yamato, but that's a lot of armor. That's a lot of armor and health to get through.
It's like, if anyone else would have been there, I would have gone in for that one.
So the rest of FNatic?
Yeah, and that's the counter to, you know, that big armored up Rock is bringing the entire team down to see if he can have a go at Yamato Cannon. We are going to see XPK going in there first. Jace is coming around the side. There's the shot blast. It will connect. Are they going to knock him away? Yes, they will. He's pinged around and it will be finished off in the end by XPK. Nice play from FNatic.
XPK on Zed did a lot of damage in that engagement. He chunked through 50% of Malphite with that Warden's Mail, Giant's Belt, and Sunfire Cape. And a lot of that is because of the double stacking of that Brutalizer and that Last Whisper. It's going to shred a huge chunk of that armor. So, well played. They pick up the kill. This is something we've seen FNatic do against a number of teams. When they played SK a couple of weeks ago, they just camped Kevin over and over and over and picked up kills, and Kevin singed over and over and over. And if Yamato Cannon is alone in those lanes, they will do the same again, because it means they can take any objective they want in a 5v4 situation.
Yeah, take that big tank out of it and things can get a lot easier. That Last Whisper, as you said, doing the work. They've got 2 of them in there, plus the Black Cleavers as well, and the Brutalizer. It's a really great position that FNatic have worked themselves into at this point. They're around about a 6,000 gold lead up until now, so you know, things all go into plan. They had that loss against Evil Geniuses yesterday. We wondered if that was going to shake them up. Dragonborns, again, they don't look bad here in this game, but you can see who's the more experienced and really coordinated team right now. Yeah, at least till this point.
No, you're 100% right. FNatic are in control of the tempo, and Dragonborns are looking to make a play to take that back. You can see with that Oracle's Elixir on move rate, clearing out wards around Baron, they're actually pulling FNatic towards them. This is Dragonborns saying, look, we want to fight on our terms. We want to arrest control back from their opponents. And they were trying to do something around Baron, but they're not 100% sure on what they want to do. So once FNatic showed up, they sort of went, oh, okay, hang on a second, we're not quite sure about this, and they start to back away. But nevertheless, it's what they need to do to balance this game back out, is force engagements on their terms, pick fights where they're comfortable to have those fights being picked, and not right now while Hosan is miles away in that top lane.
Well, he's headed down now, and they've cleared out a good amount of wards. Enrated did just come around through another ward in there, managed to land the grasping roots, but Dragonborns do have the positioning here on Baron. Question is, will they be in a position to really start it off? And with XPK pushing that middle lane, it looks like the answer to that one is in fact going to be no. But XPK now in a bit of no man's land. He's going to have to get himself quickly away as he possibly can. And look at the damage there coming out onto Hosan, but they are managing to track XPK down. The flag was already thrown by Maluno, so he can't use that to get in. Meanwhile, at the backside, they've actually started fighting here against Yamato Cannon. FNatic coming split into this one. Zed going to join the fight again. Looks like FNatic want to get in on the fight here. Yamato Cannon, the tank, almost taken down. The rest of the team going to be destroyed here. That's a double kill, a triple kill, a quadra kill coming out for Jace. Can they get over and get the Penta? Do they care about the Penta? They've got an open base with a 30-second spawn on Yamato Cannon right now. They're going to take 2 inhibitor turrets. You can imagine both inhibitors will fall along with that as well.
With 20 seconds on the clock, they may even decide to carry on for the win. They have minions in the middle lane. They have minions in the bottom lane, and that was FNatic decimating the Dragonborns. XPK used his death mark on the tank. He used that on Yamato Cannon and dropped his hit points to 0. FNatic are going to pick up a victory here, 11-4. They're going to focus down the Nexus. Mover couldn't even get intervention off there. I mean, he was just dropped so quickly. The amount of damage from FNatic was just too high.
Yeah, and it was Soaz who picked up that final kill there as well, so we're going to give him a kind of honorary pentakill for that one. He killed all 5 of them, it was just a bit delayed. A delayed pentakill there for Soaz. Great performance from FNatic, looking very, very solid here, and not what Dragonborns were looking for really after that win yesterday that broke their run of bad form. They may slip back into it again. Obviously, it's very early stages to be talking about another bad run of games. But what we know from this is that FNatic have taken the points and put the pressure back on Gambit up at the top. That's it for me and Trevor here on the caster's desk. We're going to go over to Demon and Jason to break down the plays.
Yes, thank you very much, and well, a convincing victory towards the end there. It started off so well for the Dragonborns, Shushi getting that first blood. We thought, oh, are we on for another upset here? But it wasn't to be, and well, it was actually a very dominant performance towards the end there. FNatic kind of had full control, and Dragonborns seemed a little lost for what to do.
Well, we saw one thing in the beginning of the game when you mentioned Shushay getting the first blood. I wanted to point out that Hosan, yet again, like he did against Giants yesterday, he tried to push Yellowstar out of lane at level 1. He got there at level 2 because they were on the top side, got the double golems, applied the pressure very early on, got him very low, but wasn't able to do enough damage to force him to just go straight back since he had that red pot on him. But it was just really cool to see because he kept that little bit of an advantage he made early on and kept it going the entire game with like a nice 20 CS advantage. Obviously, it didn't really matter when Yellowstar had 5 kills, but still it shows that that's a really like a strategy he likes to use early on.
Yeah, so we have the one replay. I mean, it was actually hard pressed to find a good replay from that game because it was kind of just like a slow one victory, sort of grinded out. It's always hard to find when the other team is not really quite battling back into it, but they did try and battle back into the bottom. It was a long, drawn-out fight, but really, it was all about Yellowstar down that bottom lane. Yeah, it was. Well, the thing is, we're going to showcase in the spotlight just Hosan. He overextended a couple of times where Asana would just come in with the ultimate, pick up the kill, and you can't really do that against Nocturne. You don't really see him played much anymore, so it might be a thing of where you don't, you're not used to it. But we're going to 3-point on your screen in a second. It's 19 minutes in, 3-3. It's not really that much of a lead for FNatic, but as you're going to see, Yellowstar with that Bloodthirster, with those Berserker Greaves, just able to tear through Hosan, not to mention Sana coming in from the side. So what a show. I mean, it was a nice engage out of Hosan. He was able to dodge the Zyra ultimate. The K ultimate came in from the side as well. He tried to burst down and raid it in time, but it wasn't enough. Since he Sana come in, they're going to pick up these kills. Yellowstar, obviously, I mean, he's sitting at pretty much full health at that point. Gets knocked down about half, but doesn't matter. Double kill with the expunge. And then the questionable thing right here is seeing Yamato Cannon teleport in just at this point. We were looking at each other like, not sure if that's really a good move because you look on the minimap, you have Xpeke coming in from the top side. He's pretty much going to be all alone here, and it just seems like maybe a little bit of miscommunication on his part. Yeah, and it wasn't quite in it at the moment, and he's just. And you can see this was kind of the craziness. He just got away, and it took a lot of tankiness to get in there. But and that, Yamato Cannon, it's just, what sort of impact do you think he's had on Dragonborns since they've had these changes around? Obviously, Spontex used to be in there, and the reasons they've changed it, despite the fact Spontex being very high in, probably the stats compared to everyone else, it was just that they weren't really having the team communications. Do you feel it's kind of worked out for them so far? Well, we saw yesterday when he played Zed, they just seemed to meld together as a team really well. We've talked about him in the previous weeks about, in week 1 or 2, Maluna was having a tough time kind of getting into the team and synergizing well. Yamato was having that problem the first week, but we finally saw some sort of life in him, but it just seemed right there that communication wasn't really there. You saw a lot of indecisiveness, especially when we saw FNatic, they were just pushing up the mid lane, and we saw 5 members of Dragonborns head towards Baron, but they're like, crap, we can't do this because Xpeke is still pushing mid lane. It's just stuff like that. Yeah. But it might just come with comfort, might come with time, and it might be able to melt together if they can get into the second half or in the summer split of LCS. So the MVP, of course, he was Yellowstar. So he's the man of the match and really played a fantastic Twitch. Pulling out the Twitch, going aggressive. I think he ended up 5-0-4 towards the end there. So very good performance by him. And he was the roaming ganker. And actually, we saw a couple of situations where Peke was sat ready. And this time he was with Yellowstar. Normally, it's like Soaz he sat with. We all see Peke and Soaz roaming around. But this time they were like, sorry, Soaz, we got this guy. He's managing to get all the kills, despite the end. Soaz got the quadra kill, of course, towards the end there. But fantastic performance from FNatic and really regaining from where they set off and fell apart, honestly, against Evil Geniuses yesterday. So we are going to head over to the studio to see who Shox has from FNatic.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Soaz. First off, Soaz, you didn't get a chance to talk yesterday, so is there anything you want to say about the loss versus EG from your point of view?
From my point of view, we just did a call level 1 and we didn't really follow it, so I just died level 1 for no reason. After that, we swap lane because the bottom lane have a huge advantage with golems and for the wolf as well. So they wanted to swap lane. I didn't really wanted to, but we just swap lane, and Wicked had like 40 CS more than me. So if he was split pushing, if I try to get some creep or whatever, TF just teleported and killed me. So the game was over, in my opinion, at 10 minutes or something like that. So they just snowballed the game. And even though Frogan didn't expect it at the Nexus, if he was in the fight, he could have just killed us and finished the game anyways.
All right, so not the best game yesterday. And today we saw you saying, well, you know, I just want to go 1 versus 1. I don't like it being 1 versus 2. So you got to be up against Malphite with the Jace you pulled out again. So how did that game go?
I prefer to be 1 versus 1 because all the time we swap lane, I end up by having so much less farm than the other top lane, and I don't really like it. So I prefer to be 1 versus 1, and the matchup against Malphite is like, I cannot, there is no way I can kill him. I can farm, I can have more farm than him by pushing the lane. But they have possibility to kill me with Jarvan, which is a good ganker and stuff like that.
Okay. The interview you pulled out at Jace again. You're known to bring out new champions in that top lane, and the vote for the All-Star game is really, really close between you and Wicked. So is there anything you want to say about that?
I think Wicked is a great top laner, but you have really low champion pool, and it might be in disfavor against Korean, so vote for me.
All right, merci beaucoup, Soaz. All right, I just want to take another second to remind you of our Twitter question for today. Which North American player would you add into the European All-Star team, and why? Hit us up at LOL eSports, #LCS. And now, Against All Authority is close to catching up to the Copenhagen Wolves, but they'll have to conquer the Spanish Armada here. AAA versus Giants in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.